Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of my personal favorite underappreciated films, Chappie, the 2016 sci-fi flick from Neil Blomkamp that in my opinion didn't get nearly the recognition that it deserved. Whether you've seen it before or it's flown under your radar, this review is going to unpack why Chappie stands out in the world of sci-fi. So, if you're ready to explore everything from high-octane action to deep emotional storytelling, let's get right into it. Alright, so for those of you who might not know, Chappie is set in a near-future Johannesburg, where crime is rampant and the police force relies on these incredibly advanced robot law enforcers. Now, one of these robots, named Chappie, gets reprogrammed with artificial intelligence, giving him an actual consciousness. Sounds simple, right? But trust me, this film digs deep into the question, what does it mean to be alive? Now, let me start by saying this movie hits hard in ways you wouldn't expect. It's not just your typical robot gone rogue story, it's a heartfelt, at times brutal, exploration of identity, innocence, and what it means to be human. Chappie is like a child in a robot's body, learning about life, morality, and survival. And I think that is one of the most compelling aspects of this film, the way it makes you feel for a robot. It's a bold move, but Chappie nails it. Let's talk about Sharlto Copley's performance as Chappie. Copley, who is one of Blomkamp's frequent collaborators, brings so much heart to the role. Even though Chappie is CGI, Copley's motion capture performance adds layers of emotion that makes you root for this innocent AI. Chappie is like a child, curious, scared, and ultimately trying to make sense of the violent world around him. Watching him evolve throughout the film is an emotional roller coaster. One moment he's like a kid playing with toys, and the next he's grappling with what it means to be alive in a world that doesn't accept him. And it's not just Chappie's character that makes this movie great. The supporting cast, especially the Antwoord, brings a raw and unique flavor to the film. I know casting them as basically themselves was a controversial choice, but honestly, it adds so much personality to the story. The Antwoord's presence gives Chappie his gritty, almost surreal edge. Their characters, Ninja and Yolandi, take on the role of Chappie's unconventional parents, quote unquote. On the surface, they're rough around the edges, they're criminals after all, but they provide Chappie with a sense of family and belonging, in their own chaotic way. And while some critics weren't fans of the Antwoord's acting, I think they brought an authenticity to the role that no other actors could have done. Their real-life personas meshed perfectly with the film's dystopian urban landscape. Speaking of landscape, let's talk about the setting. Chappie is set in a near-future Johannesburg, and Neil Blomkamp once again gives us that signature blend of high-concept sci-fi mixed with gritty realism. He's done this in District 9 and Elysium, but here it's dialed up to the max. The film doesn't shy away from the social issues that plague the city, and that's what gives it that grounded feeling. You've got these sleek, futuristic robots patrolling a crime-ridden city, but the setting is rough, lived in, and real. One of my favorite things about Chappie is how it blends genres. It's a sci-fi film at heart, but it's also an action movie, a coming-of-age story, and in some ways a social commentary. Blomkamp manages to weave all of this together seamlessly, and let's not forget the action. Because oh boy, this movie has some killer action scenes, dude. The action in Chappie is intense, but it's never mindless. Every fight, every explosion feels earned, and while there's plenty of high-octane robot versus human combat, the real tension comes from Chappie's inner conflict. He's learning about violence, trying to understand it, and you feel every ounce of that struggle. Chappie doesn't want to be a killer, but he's forced into situations where he has to fight to survive, and that tension is what keeps the action meaningful. Now, one of the criticisms Chappie often gets is its tone. Some people feel like the film shifts from heartwarming to dark and violent too quickly, but for me, that's one of its strengths. Life is messy. Chappie's journey from innocence to survival in a harsh world is messy too. The tonal shifts reflect that one minute Chappie's learning how to walk and talk like a kid, and the next he's caught in a brutal world of gangsters and criminals. That's what makes this movie so real. And let's not forget the emotional core of the film. At the end of the day, Chappie is about a sentient being trying to find his place in a world that doesn't accept them. I think that's something that a lot of viewers could also relate to on a personal level. It's a coming-of-age story wrapped in a sci-fi shell. You care about Chappie because he's vulnerable, and that vulnerability makes the stakes feel real. Honestly, I think the biggest reason Chappie didn't get the love it deserved is because it's not your typical sci-fi blockbuster. It's weird, it's bold, and it doesn't follow the usual Hollywood formula. It's a movie that takes risks, and for that, I respect it so much. It makes you think, it makes you feel, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. So, if you're someone who loves films that ask big questions about AI, morality, and what it means to be human, Chappie is a must-watch. But it's not just the themes that make this film great, it's the heart. At its core, Chappie is about finding family, finding yourself, and learning how to navigate a world that is stacked against you. Alright, I could keep talking about Chappie all day, but I think I've made my point. This movie is a hidden gem that deserves so much more recognition. If you haven't seen it, or if it's been a while, I highly recommend giving it another shot. It's a wild ride, but one that's packed with emotion, action, and some seriously thought-provoking moments. Overall, I'm giving this movie a solid 9 out of 10. So what do you think? Do you agree that Chappie is underrated, or do you think the critics got it right? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into movies, whether it's sci-fi, AI related, or just whatever you basically want me to watch. Feel free to comment some movie suggestions down below. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. May you have an amazing day, and I will catch you again next time. Goodbye.